Now, here's some news that you may or may not have known. Now, this happened July 2nd, 2023, so it's a couple of days removed. Maybe you heard about it, maybe you didn't. But since the liberal media is not going to post this, I feel it's my duty to post this because everybody should know that this happened. So, you have a new law that puts an end to permanent alimony in Florida. So right here, it says new law ends permanent alimony in Florida, drawing fierce opposition from the quote-unquote first wives advocacy group. So it says Governor DeSantis on Friday signed a measure that will overhaul the state's alimony laws. After 3 vetoes of similar bills and a decade of emotional clashes over the issue. The measure is SB 1416, includes doing away with what is known as permanent alimony. DeSantis' approval came a year after he nixed a similar bill that sought to eliminate permanent alimony and set up a formula for alimony amounts based on the length of marriage. So, bottom line is this. If you are married for a short period of time, why should the other person have to pay your way for the rest of your life? The answer is they shouldn't. So, the approval drew an outcry from members of the First Wives Advocacy Group, a coalition of mostly older women who receive permanent alimony and who assert that their lives will be upended without the payments. Guess what? You may have to go out and get a job. You know, the same job that man that you married who was paying you that alimony, the same job that he's getting stripped of his money to keep your ass going. No, you may have to go get a job. That's what President Trump would say. He'd say, go get a job.
Get a job. Get a job.
Okay, so on behalf of the thousands of women who our group represents, we are very disappointed in the governor's decision to sign the alimony reform bill. We believe by signing it, he has put older women in a situation which will cause them to have to go get a job.
Get a job. Get a job.
The so-called party of family values has just contributed to the erosion of the institution of marriage in Florida. A 63-year-old Boca Raton woman named Jan Killalea, who founded the group a decade ago, told the news service of Florida in a text message Friday. So it says, the years-long effort to do away with permanent alimony has been a highly contentious issue. It elicited tearful testimony from members of the First Wives group. Oh, we might have to go get a job now. But it also spurred impassioned pleas from ex-spouses who said that they had been forced to work long past the age that they wanted to retire because they were on the hook for alimony payments. How does this shit get passed in the first place? Now, I already did a story about that dude up in Canada. He wasn't even married to this woman, but he had cohabited with her for a certain amount of time, and some bitch judge fucked him out of his, I think she got him for $50,000 a month or something. And since you're up there in Canada, even if you hear the sound of my voice, there ain't shit you can do about it because I'm down here in New York. You come see me, judge. You can't do shit. I got First Amendment rights down here. Michael Bueller, chairman of Florida Family Fairness, a group that has pushed for doing away with permanent alimony, praised the approval of the bill. Florida Family Fairness is pleased that the Florida legislature and Governor DeSantis have passed a bill that ends permanent alimony and codifies in statute the right to retire for existing alimony payers. Yeah, so you mean to tell me that these people were getting robbed so badly that they couldn't even retire because they're forced to be on the hook for this old bag who they probably weren't even really married to for that long. They might have had a couple hours of fun, and then after that, they got to pay for it for the rest of their lives? No way in hell. So anyway, along with DeSantis' veto of the 2022 version, former Governor Rick Scott twice vetoed similar bills. The issue spurred a near fracas outside Scott's office in 2016. This year, however, the proposal received relatively little public pushback and got the blessing of Florida Family Fairness and the Florida's Bar's Family Law section, which fiercely clashed over the issue in the past. Along with eliminating permanent alimony, the measure will set up a process for ex-spouses who make alimony payments to seek modifications to alimony agreements when they want to retire. It will allow judges to reduce or terminate alimony support or maintenance payments after considering a number of factors, such as the age and health of the person who makes payments, the customary retirement age of that person's occupation, the economic impact a reduction in alimony would have on the recipient of the payments, and the motivation for retirement, likelihood of returning to work for the person making the payments. Supporters said it will codify into law a court decision in a 1992 divorce case that judges use as a guidepost when making decisions about retirement. But as with previous versions, opponents remain concerned that the bill would apply to existing permanent alimony agreements, which many ex-spouses accept in exchange for giving up other assets as part of divorce settlements. He, DeSantis, has just impoverished all the... Oh, no, you're not impoverished. Go get a job. And I know at least 3,000 women across the state of Florida are switching to Democrat. Go get a job. Go get a job. Democrats ain't got no jobs. Go get a job. So anyway, where are we? In vetoing the 2022 version, DeSantis pointed to concerns about the bill allowing ex-spouses to have existing alimony agreements amended. In a June 24, 2022 veto letter, he wrote that if the bill were to become law and be given retroactive effect as the legislature intends, it would unconstitutionally impair vested rights under certain pre-existing marital settlement agreements. But Senate bill sponsor Joe Grutters, Sarasota, tried to assure lawmakers that the 2023 version would not unconstitutionally affect existing alimony settlements. This year's proposal went to what is currently case law. Grutters told a Senate committee in April, pointing to the court ruling. So what you can do right now under case law, we now codify all those laws and make that the rule of law. So we basically just solidify that. So from a retroactivity standpoint, no, because if anything could be modifiable before, it's still modifiable. It's still a non-modifiable agreement. All right. So let's see. Is there anything else that's important? Oh, well, I was almost finished. It says the bill, which will take effect Saturday, also will set a 5-year limit on what is known as rehabilitative alimony. Under the plan, people married for less than 3 years will not be eligible for alimony payments. So I hope you're okay. So this is important. Keep this in mind. This is the law. Under the plan, people married for less than 3 years will not be eligible for alimony payments. So you know these women who get married and then get divorced just because? Yeah, well, he ain't get nothing else out of it. All right. And those who have been married 20 years or longer will be eligible to receive payments for up to 75% of the term of the marriage. So, there you go. It says the new law will also allow alimony payers to seek modifications if a supportive relationship exists or has existed involving their ex-spouses in the previous year. Critics argue the provision is vague and could apply to temporary roommates who help alimony recipients cover living expenses for short periods of time. Fivish, a 63-year-old with serious medical conditions, says she can't afford another legal fight over alimony. Good. Go get a job. Go get a job. That's all. Go get a job. Like the person you expected to work till they die just to pay for your ass. This welfare, let me tell you, see, you know what? I can stop reading right here. The welfare state's coming to an end. This country at this point, what were we, like $32 trillion in debt? We're running a $2 trillion deficit. We're running a $1 trillion trade deficit, I believe. It's like the welfare state's coming to an end. Now, I know that there are those who don't think it'll ever end, but believe me, it's going to come to an end simply because it's going to bankrupt itself. See, that's the beautiful thing. See, well, I heard this a long time ago. The problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money to spend. So now you're noticing a couple of things. First of all, you know, the divorce rates are still sky high, but now you're seeing these states that are being forced to take action, just like in this case, Florida, DeSantis, ending this permanent alimony. But on top of that, you're seeing more and more young people decide not to get married at all. And now you're seeing men divesting. Men are saying, you know what, I don't want to deal with these women. And the funny thing I think about is that when you're seeing these stories and they're talking about young men who are not dating, not marrying, is that they have so much extra money. That's the interesting thing. They have a lot of extra money because they're not married. They have a lot of extra money because they're not dating. And they have a lot of extra money because they don't have children. So you have more men who are single and childless now than probably in the history of this country. And that trend is continuing to the point where the researchers are saying that by 2030, they're saying that the majority of women in America are going to be single and childless. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be homeless. What it means is that, as they're doing now, many of them will be forced to shack up with other women, just like in that show, The Golden Girls, where you had Rose, Blanche, Dorothy, and you had Sophia all living under that same roof. Now, the bottom line is, it's happening. It's obvious it's happening. But what you're seeing right now is you're seeing the opening pages to the book. You haven't seen it in full swing yet. But this is what's happening. So, all I can say is hold the line. Hold the line. Get your passports. Hold the line. Because as you can see, what you probably were indoctrinated with when you grew up, what you expected you were going to get out of relationships in America, you're quickly seeing that none of that shit is going to happen. You're quickly seeing that in order for you to even have a chance in a relationship, you'd either be forced to accept some woman's polyandry, or you'd be able to, you'd basically be playing Russian roulette with your own personal wallet and livelihood and career. Because you could end up just like one of these dudes who's on this permanent alimony, and now you're just getting rescued, and it took, till 2023? Let me tell you something. I would never marry in this country. Ever. Ever. I wouldn't do it. There are some other countries, I could see it, but not in this country. No way. And damn sure I wouldn't marry an American, because I can already see America's a toxic environment. The people are toxic. And then on top of that, the women are extra toxic. That's why they color their hair purple and pink. Because in nature's trained us to watch out for these animals that are high toxicity by giving them these bright ass colors. So when you're seeing somebody with a purple hairstyle or freaking sky blue, like you're seeing somebody whose hair is the color of a 1993 Cougar XR7, that's who you should stay away from. If you see a woman and her hair is the color of like a Dodge Charger Hellcat, chances are you should stay away from her. Like, I'm not talking about black, and I'm not, if it's not, I'm just talking about like black. If it ain't black, stay away from her, because chances are she's highly toxic. Yeah, that's just what it is. Nature warned us about these animals. They got raptor claw. Like, here's the thing. I saw that movie Jurassic Park. You see the raptor. You saw the raptor in Jurassic Park 2. You saw how it jumped on that guy's back and stabbed him in the back with those claws. Only an American woman would look at that shit and say, ooh, wow, those are amazing claws. I need to have that on my hands. Nature warned us. Hold the line. Get your passport. It's the safest decision. It's the most logical decision. If you do it any other way, you're playing Russian roulette with your money, your savings, and your life. And that's all.
Y'all, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're looking for a man, just know that the reason you can't find him, a black man specifically, is because he's in Colombia already. Y'all. So this is the first time I've come to Colombia, like post pandemic. So like seeing it in its like true form of like what the numbers are looking like. And when I tell you that my whole flight was full of it was full of black men traveling with other black men. They come into Colombia, baby. That's why you can't find them. They're all here.
I'll forever submit to you, Miles. I'll forever respect you, Miles. I'll forever honor you, Miles, as the head of our home. In heaven, they hear. On earth, I declare and decree, I shall be a submissive wife unto you.
To be continued.